problems with tranquilizers in her own life, Christine, now writer and actress. She's also involved as a volunteer in Nakro Adult Centre, Page Moss.
Well, I started feeling really depressed and I was crying all the time. I felt strange and headaches and being sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me.
Did taking tranquilizers help with that?
At first it did. I'd take one and it didn't affect me the same.
Oh yeah. Trying to reduce or stop taking tranquilizers since you first began.
Yeah.
Did you get any withdrawal symptoms when you did so?
Yeah, well, I just completely said that's it, I'm not taking them anymore. And then it was the worst thing I could have done in my life. I just completely went to pieces. I was getting, like my body was expanding and the shakes, being sick. And these bursting headaches, and I just had to start taking them again.
Affected taking the tranquilizers on your family, on your children?
It must have been bad for them because, like, I was sort of sitting there, like, withdrawn into myself. And it was quite selfish, really, when you think back, because all the place sort of got in a mess to such an extent that I couldn't cope with anything.
If you were to come across someone now who's at the same stage you were when you originally went to the doctor for tranquilizers, would you give them any advice?
Yeah, that trying to, explain to them that if they are to be on tranquilizers, to not be foolish and take more than they should do. Abuse them, sort of thing, which I did abuse them. And also to try and sit down and work out where you've gone wrong in your life.
Indeed, tranquilizers, as they are popularly known, are the most frequently prescribed mood-altering agents in the world. Every year, 1 in 5 British women will take a daily dose of Valium or Librium for sedation. 1 in 10 males will do the same. Incredibly, 250,000 British adults are known to have used these drugs regularly for more than 5 years, making them much more abused than heroin. Tranquilizers were preceded by the even more dangerous barbiturates. Over 24 million tranquilizers are prescribed by the NHS, mostly through GPs, every year, at a time when the NHS is becoming badly underfunded. Tranquilizers were launched by the big drug manufacturers as safe and non-addictive to the discredited barbiturates. Paradoxically, although tranquilizers soothe users' anxieties and act as an initial euphoric, they can also release inhibitions, producing aggressive and excitable behavior, in fact like alcohol. Tolerance develops relatively easily, so the dose has to be steadily increased in order to maintain the desired effects. Because they are legal and socially acceptable, alcohol and cigarettes are not seen by a lot of people to actually be drugs, and therefore as dangerous. But in reality, they are both very dangerous when abused. Well over 90% of all adults in Britain drink to some extent, and getting drunk is a relatively common occurrence. In the late teens and early 20s, alcohol consumption is 40 to 50% above average, with all the corresponding problems of increased drunkenness, violence, crime, etc. The pub is the centre of our social culture, and generally people go there to socialise. Alcohol reduces inhibitions and relaxes people, but above a few drinks can result in a person performing certain tasks less well. About 1/3 of drivers and up to a quarter of all adult pedestrians killed in road accidents have drunk well above the legal limit. Regular drinkers can easily become dependent on alcohol as tolerance develops. This can lead to alcoholism, which now affects an estimated 250,000 adults in Britain. Use of cigarettes containing nicotine, however, is on decline, although there are still about 18 million smokers in Britain, about 45% of the adult population. Pure nicotine is one of the most lethal substances known to man, able to kill with a few drops applied to the tongue. In cigarettes, it acts as a mild stimulant, only as a small dosage. Smokers have a compulsion to reach for a fag that could be said to make a heroin addict look as though he or she has no problem. 50,000 people die each year in Britain from smoking-related diseases, such as lung cancer. It is now claimed that even non-smokers in the vicinity of smokers are also at risk. Smoking is now almost becoming the preserve of the working class, especially women. Advertising of cigarettes is now well controlled. Like alcohol, the government receives a massive amount of tax revenue on both industries. Both these industries, like the medical drug industry, are dominated by big business. But many people smoking and drinking are indulged in at the same time. This chart illustrates that although people in the community are right to be concerned about heroin, compared to the regular use of alcohol, it pales in comparison in the terms of the number of people who use it.
Do you think that alcohol is harmful to you?
Yeah. You think so much of it is, but drink small quantities here, it isn't.
Okay then. Do you think that cigarettes should be banned?
For some people, yeah, but for older people, no, because they only have a few pleasures in life, and that's one of them. It shouldn't be like, but it is. So
100,000 people die each year through cigarette smoking. Do you think that they should be banned?
yeah, yeah, I do.
The group also consulted a local clergyman, Joe Weeks of St Martin's Church, to see how the church reacted to the problem of drug abuse locally.
They don't seem to be loved in the family. 2, they feel separate from the family, so they look for an alternative. Now, the alternative, it seems to me, is the Christian faith. You know, that the Christian faith offers some hope. That first, it's about loving yourself. It's about understanding the people around you and understanding that there is a God who cares and loves with all those people around you. the answer to the smoking, to go back to your smoking, is yes. Yes, I do smoke. But I do know the consequences of that, which is very bad health. Also, very expensive. A packet of cigarettes today is £1.50. Now, if you multiply that by 7, if you smoke 20 a day, that works out quite a lot of money. What's that? 7, 10, £10.50, isn't it? Or multiply that over, 52 weeks in a year, and you come to quite a hefty figure. Now, if you wanted to buy a house over 10 years, you probably have saved enough money, instead of smoking 20 cigarettes a day, but to have actually put that money aside. So there's the very positive sides of not smoking.
Yes, indeed. It's a great incentive. Everybody shot a cat.
It's also very antisocial. It smells. But the alcohol is a big problem. It seems to me everywhere, not just in Kirby. If you want to find a good grocery shop in Kirby, it's quite difficult. But if you want to find a good off license or a pub or a club, there are hundreds of them. You don't have to look very far. Now, in Liverpool, people talk about the bad parts, the dying Liverpool. But if we take the docks, the Albert Docks, there's the new birth. There's the new resurrection. Look at the cathedral, the Anglican cathedral. The clergy have moved back in to the town. There's a new housing estate. There's the birth again. And there are signs of hope. There are signs of hope in Kirby.
The group looked around the area for possible alternatives to the drug problem. We thought the recreational facilities in the town would be one. We interviewed Kirby Sports Centre manager Doug Daly.
You've got quite a magnificent stadium here. It's really, really super, isn't it? I've not seen one in this area anyway. It's anything like it.
Well, we pride ourselves. It must be the best in the Northwest. We're very proud of Kirby Sports Centre.
You've had one or two quite spectacular events here over the years, haven't you?
Well, we've been the venue for many major events, but two that I can recall over the last dozen years that stick out in my mind are the English Schools Athletics Championship and, of course, the Special Olympics, which was a sporting 3-day extravaganza for persons with mental handicap.
Generally, throughout the week, is the sports centre well used?
Oh yes, my goodness, we're actually running at capacity most evenings and weekends.
During the summer holidays, now that children are off school, you're running special sort of events to keep them occupied, aren't you?
Well, we've over the last few years we've run what we've called a summer fun scheme. It's been aimed at the youngsters, and they can participate in a full range of indoor and outdoor sporting activities, all for 25 pence, and we provide the staff and the equipment, and it's very well received.
So you keep quite a lot of children occupied?
Oh yes.
And of course, using the centre, say, throughout the week, is it very expensive for people to use it?
I don't think so. I don't think so, no. And we have actually got a two-tier price structure. So if people are available during the day, Monday to Friday, be they unemployed or persons on short time or what have you, then they can use the centre for 25 pence, which is very reasonable. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive of an evening, but I don't think the prices are prohibitive.
No.
Another alternative in the area is the Kirby Unemployed Centre, which was set up by unemployed trade unionists over 5 years ago.